Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and this morning I'm looking at a book from Edward Elgar Publishing, and it's another very useful book for people who are looking at higher academic studies. The book is called Information Environmentalism. Bit of a mouthful. That's the book here. Have a look at it. It's very light. It's a hardback, been written by Robert Cunningham, and it's got a subtitle, A Governance Framework for Intellectual Property Rights. There's the spine. That's the back of it, so you've got some idea. You can see what we're talking about. We're looking at intellectual property rights, and we're looking at that actually again in an international setting. There's the index at the back. It's not a heavy, big book. It's under 300 pages. Huge number of notes, of course, to be expected. Very helpful. Going to each of the chapters. The notes are actually at the back, so you've got the body copy. The notes actually start at page 200, so almost 100 pages are the notes to go with what is the body copy of the work itself. Let's look at the front of it. You can see here, that's the front sheet there, Professor Cunningham's name. Then the structure, you've got 5 parts. An introduction, starting off, of course, then in welfare economics, the commons, ecology, public choice theory, and conclusions. Then you've got an useful acknowledgement, a little quote from Winston Churchill. Writing a book is an adventure, is what he says. There's some acknowledgements. Then you've got acronyms, quite useful because this is again getting a bit more technical. Then you've got the structure of the book itself, chapter headings, and then paragraph numbering at the side. As I say, you don't have any of the notes at the bottom because they're all at the back, which makes it a bit easier. So when you're doing something like this, read the whole thing through. It's much easier. Information environmentalism is then explained, so you've got some idea of what he's talking about. Intellectual property rights and the veil of property, interesting area for all you real property people. And then various other points. Externalities and monopolies. You see, we've got some interesting words coming up here already. And a nice little quote. This one's from Karl Popper. Every solution to a problem creates new unsolved problems. Thank you, Mr. Popper. Anyway, that's the book itself. Very interesting, very thought-provoking. Now, my wife Elizabeth and I have written a review of this book. It's up to the very high standards that we expect from Elgar, and we've given it a title, Information and the Environment, a conceptual link of interest to intellectual property practitioners and environmental lawyers, and that's where the mix comes in. And this is what we say. Published by Edward Elgar, this thoughtful and deeply analytical text examines in detail what the author describes as the nexus between the physical environment and the information environment, and explores the ways in which environmental analytical frameworks might also apply to the information environment. And the author, Dr. Robert Cunningham, in fact he's a professor as well, cares intensely about the state of the natural world and what he perceives as the link between the natural environment and the information environment. Interesting concept if you think of it. His abiding concern about environmental issues started when, as a child and later as an adult, he observed any number of insults to the environment, from the destruction of a creek bed near his home to other worrying phenomena such as ozone depletion, remember that, greenhouse gases, which we do remember, and clear-felled forests. As time passed, he says, I wanted to do something about it. This book is a manifestation of that concern. And by the way, Cunningham, thank you for that. The idea for the book apparently germinated in Australia's Queensland University of Technology, and it seems that it was inspired by the scholarship and research of Professor James Boyle of Duke University in America, and also by the author's acquisition of a research fellowship at Queen Mary College, University of London, an excellent college. It is evident also that in the development of the book, Cunningham was influenced and assisted by literally dozens of scholars and environmental theorists from some of the world's top academic institutions. The book poses a fundamental question that centres on whether it's useful to apply environmental analytical frameworks to intellectual property rights, IPRs. That's particularly copyrights and patents or patents. On first reading the book, it appears throughout to support cultural environmentalist Boyle's suggestion that there is indeed a strong correlation between the struggle to protect the physical environment and the desire to protect the information environment. If you are a practitioner specialising in IP, you may or may not agree, but you will be intrigued, we think nonetheless, by the convincing case in this direction presented in this book. It's interesting to note that in his analysis of cultural environmentalism, Cunningham demonstrates that this and related theories impact on the digital revolution, for example, which in turn, of course, affects every aspect of contemporary life today. And it's going to continue that way. So that's why I think this is, again, an enriching book for us to know where we're going as we get towards the end of this second decade of the 21st century. Let me conclude by saying IP theorists in particular, as well as environmental lawyers and academics, will appreciate the insights revealed and the often new and original avenues of thought which Cunningham opens up to scrutiny as a result of his careful research. And it has been careful and painstaking, as you will see from the huge amount of notes to justify everything at the back. Certainly the book deserves a place in the well-read practitioner's professional library, and I think every IP guy ought to have it. I mean girls as well when I say guys. The publication date is cited at December 2013. Let's have a look at it again. It's a hardback, not very big, but nice and firm. Good book, and some good stuff in it. Paragraph numbering I do find helpful. Some of the words used can be a little bit confusing, perhaps to older people like myself, but at the same time it's very good. There's the index again, you can see he's got an awful lot of stuff in here, and this huge amount of stuff where he's done his research. These books are invaluable. They say Edward Elgar, a family business in international publishing. Well, that's what they are. These books are very helpful to us, so thank you to Edward Elgar. Thank you to Cunningham, Robert Cunningham, and obviously everybody involved in this book. It's a great contribution to where we are in the middle of the second decade of the 21st century. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.